Hello! 5 cards revealed for the Boomsday expansion. First up is Cosmic Anomaly, 4 mana 4/3 Mage Elemental, and Shooting Star, 1 mana Mage spell that deals 1 damage to a minion and the minions next to them. So Blizzard's been making some more Mage spell damage cards as of lately. Cosmic Anomaly seems a bit awkward. If you were to take this spell damage deck in the aggro or tempo direction, the 4/3 stats are a bit rough, and you would likely want to combo this with another spell on the same turn, making it more of a late game play. If this deck were more control, then this card would be too low value. Now, Shooting Star has more promise. This card could fit into the aggro or tempo version of a spell damage deck better, and if you give this 2 spell damage, it's a good card. Comboing these 2 cards is not a bad play, but I think there needs to be better spell damage cards to combo with Shooting Star for it to be played. Spell Damage Mage is still in its infancy, and it probably won't see play this expansion, but if the deck is ever going to form, they need better options than Cosmic Anomaly to get that spell damage for cards like Shooting Star. Next up is Zurich's Master Cloner, 6 mana 5/5 legendary priest minion with the death rattle. If you've cast any spells on this minion, resummon it. I really like the design of this card because it can be a powerful card, but only in a deck that utilizes buffing. Unfortunately, that deck would be Inner Fire Priest. There aren't really that many buffing spells in Priest, and the only deck I couldn't see including enough of them to get value out of this card is my least favorite Priest deck. A death rattle deck or resummoning Priest doesn't really have any reason to run minion buffs, so it would be a stretch to put this card in there. And in Inner Fire Priest, you can play Lyra to try to get more buffs, Death Rattle, resummon if you're really that crazy, and maybe you can steal buffs from your opponent's deck. The value of this card is good enough. Where to see play, you only have to be able to buff this once a game consistently. Consistency is key with this card because if you don't have a buff in hand and this Death Rattle doesn't resummon you the minion, then it's a really bad 6 mana 5/5. While Inner Fire Priest has enough buffs, the resummoning reward itself is a bit slow for the deck. If they can seamlessly fit this in, then the value is still worth it, but it may be challenging to do this. It's a cool design for Priest. It's going to be tough to fit into a deck, but I think it could be done, especially if some more Priest buffs are released this expansion. Up next is Shrinkray, 5 mana paladin spell that sets the attack and health of all minions to 1. Gameplay wise, it could be used a lot like Equality, comboing with Consecration and Wild Pyromancer, but with its increased cost, it's a bit harder to use like this. In reality, a lot of the time, you'll probably have to use Shrinkray as a standalone spell, just turning the entire board into 1/1s and trying to use your minions to clear enemies that are still powerful even as just 1/1s. It's not Paladin's best board clear, but as you know, Paladin's only board clears are the ones noted above. Well, there's also Avenging Wrath, and you could probably also count Sunkeeper Tarim, but come on. It's a decent card, and it will be interesting to see if Paladin can use another board clear to extend their game plan and start to be able to use more expensive and controlling minions. I don't think Shrinkray will spawn a control Paladin this expansion, but it could be useful in future ones. And last up is Myra Rotspring, 5 mana 4/2 rogue legendary with the battle cry, discover a Death Rattle minion, also gain its Death Rattle. I love the design of the battle cry. You discover a Death Rattle minion, and your decision on what minion you choose is based off of the best choice of Death Rattle for Myra and the best minion you're gonna play on the board. But back to the stats, it reminds me of a Rager. Obviously, this isn't a problem if you're gonna get a good Death Rattle, something worth like 2 mana, but the number of weaker Death Rattles vastly outnumbers the stronger ones. You're gonna discover some duds every once in a while, and it will make for a weak Myra play. If this card was a 3/3 or 2/4 or some other stat line so it could contest on the board better, it could be good. The problem with this card is that it's so reliant on the Death Rattle and Discover to get value, where if you had a better stat line, even when you did get a bad Death Rattle, at least it could do something out on the board. I like the idea, but the vast difference in value of Death Rattle minions makes Myra Rotspring inconsistent and unplayable. Maybe this is a good thing because getting lucky on turn 5 and getting a powerful Death Rattle could be an annoying way to win the game. That is all the cards for this video. I'll be back tonight with 2 more, but until then, ta-ta.